guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool transfer news video where we will talk about the big news coming from Germany. The Kicker newspaper published today that Bayern Munich are willing to listen to offers for Joshua Kimmich and Leon Goretzka, but I think especially Kimmich would be a perfect signing for Liverpool. The Kicker newspaper is saying that if a high offer for Kimmich were to arrive to Munich, then the Bayern Munich bosses would be open to discussions, according to Georg Holzner and other journalists, because Bayern Munich want to rebuild their midfield and they don't consider Goretzka or Joshua Kimmich unsellable. West Ham are already interested in signing Goretzka, and Joshua Kimmich for 50-60 million pounds would be an absolutely brilliant transfer for Liverpool. And I think that Liverpool should make this move because we need exactly the kind of experienced top quality player. Yes, Joshua Kimmich is 28 years old, but he still has a good 4-5 years at the top of European football, and his contract expires in 2 years, in 2025, which means that if Bayern Munich don't sell him now, then they might have to sell him for a cut price deal in a few years. And we will take a look at the details of this story and also the latest updates on Fabinho's and Henderson's situation. Fabrizio Romano keeps posting pretty much the same update every day, just with different wording, that we are in talks with the two clubs, Al Ittihad and Al Ettifaqi, for the transfers of Fabinho and Henderson respectively. Talks are moving on, but at the moment no conclusion yet. And I think both players, Fabinho and Henderson, have given their best years of their careers, but the reality is that they have chosen the money and regular playing time over staying at Anfield and fighting for their place. And now I think Liverpool need to prioritize getting the most amount of money for both of them possible and quickly reinvest that money into the midfield and the defense. Basically, Fabinho, when he heard that there was interest in him from Saudi Arabia, he asked Liverpool to listen to the offers, which means that he wasn't overly keen to fight for his place and to stay at Liverpool. And I mean, both Fabinho and Henderson had such bad seasons last season that at one point Liverpool looked for alternatives, and we brought up a kid from the youth academy playing in the under-23 side, Bajcetic, and he started ahead of Henderson and ahead of Fabinho at one point. And we altered our tactics, so Trent goes into midfield, and we played with Bajcetic and Trent in the double pivot in the midfield, just so we didn't have to play Fabinho and Henderson. They were that bad. So I think this is not the worst case scenario that Liverpool are selling two of these players who really had a very underwhelming season. And Kimmich, in my opinion, would be absolutely ideal for Liverpool because he's very versatile. He can play defensive midfield, center midfield, box-to-box midfield. He can play right back as well. He can play the Trent role, and his winning mentality and experience is absolutely out of this world. It's second to none. Goretzka, I think, is a shadow of his former self. He had a pretty up and down season at Bayern Munich, but I think with the right mindset and with the right coach, Goretzka can still be a brilliant player. But I would go for Joshua Kimmich if I had the choice in the matter. And I mean, Joshua Kimmich is absolute of a Rolls Royce of a midfielder. He has so many trophies, already played 79 times for the German national team. He has won the Bundesliga title 8 times, won the Champions League with Bayern, the Super Cup, the Club World Cup. He won the German Cup 3 times as well, 6-time German Super Cup winner. So it's absolutely crazy the amount of trophies that Joshua Kimmich has. And Joshua Kimmich had an absolutely brilliant season last season. Bayern Munich in the end won the Bundesliga title. He played 47 games, scored 7 goals and got 11 assists. And also I want to tell you guys what he did 2 seasons ago. So the season before last season, he also got 3 goals and 12 assists. Of course, he's not like the main goal scoring midfielder at Bayern Munich, but he always gets a lot of assists, and I think he's a really brilliant player that needs no introduction, that you guys know him very, very well. And he's not an injury-prone player. He always plays on average 40 to 45 games with Bayern Munich. He even had a season where he played 51 games, and he always scores between 5 and 10 goals for Bayern Munich every season, which is also really impressive. Usually the website Transfermarkt judges players' value at a pretty fair price, and there they are putting Kimmich's market value at 75 million euros, which is around 64 million pounds, which I think is a pretty realistic transfer fee for Joshua Kimmich with 2 years left on his contract. And Liverpool are in desperate need of a new center midfielder after, being very close to selling Fabinho and Henderson. And Joshua Kimmich is definitely one of the most elite players in his position. He is very versatile. He can play a number of positions at a world-class level. He's very intelligent, very good technically, and he's also a born winner. His mentality is absolutely second to none. They referred to him as a Swiss army knife of a player, very versatile back in even 2017. And I mean, Guardiola, when he was coaching Bayern Munich, he said Joshua Kimmich is one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. And I mean, Liverpool are already building a side which are capable to progress the ball at a world-class level with Thiago, Trent, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gakpo. We have so many brilliant players who can take the ball forward. Imagine if we add Joshua Kimmich into this. And I mean, if we sell Henderson and Fabinho for a combined 60 million pounds, we can afford Joshua Kimmich even if Bayern ask for 70 or 80 million pounds. And these are the kind of players that Liverpool need to sign, on top of signing, of course, young, very promising, very hungry players. Joshua Kimmich alongside Thiago, who they both know them and each other. They know each other very well. They played together at Bayern Munich for a number of years. And even according to Spanish newspaper Marca, Liverpool are hoping to raid Bayern Munich for Kimmich. Bayern don't see Kimmich as a top natural number 6, a top natural defensive midfielder. They want a player there who is maybe a more natural fit for the defensive midfield position. And ironically, Liverpool also need a specialist in that defensive midfield position. The problem with losing Fabinho is that I think Liverpool have a few specialist players who they don't have another like that. Van Dijk in defense, Alisson in goal, Salah in the forward areas, Fabinho in the midfield. These players are very unique. Fabinho is a pure out-and-out destroyer defensive midfielder, and since he lost his yard of pace, and since he lost his dynamism, his energy, just like Henderson, he has been a liability in many games for Liverpool. So is it the best option to sign Kimmich and pair him up with maybe Thiago in the defensive midfield role? I'm not really sure, because he isn't a very tall, very physical player. So maybe Joshua Kimmich wouldn't be the perfect choice for Liverpool's midfield rebuild. If I had the choice, I would sign Lavia and a proper, brilliant defensive midfielder, Tchouaméni, if he's available, or even Kefren Thuram. I think Kefren Thuram and Lavia would cost a combined maybe 80 or 90 million, and that would be absolutely brilliant for Liverpool going forward, replacing the old legs of Fabinho and Henderson with two young players with energy, with work rate, stamina, dynamism. That's exactly the kind of midfield rebuild that Liverpool need to do. But there are other clubs circling around. Man City need to replace Gundogan. Man United are also looking to sign a midfielder, even though they already signed Mason Mount and they already have Casemiro and other players who can play that defensive midfield role. But at Liverpool, I think there's still a big space vacated by Fabinho and Henderson going. And Ian Doyle, who is working for the Liverpool Echo, is also reporting that Crystal Palace's Cheikh Doucouré is another player who is considered with Liverpool. He's 23 years old, he is mainly a defensive midfielder, he's a Mali international, and he was signed by Crystal Palace from Lens in a £21 million deal last summer, and he went on to be named their player of the year. Of course, Moises Caicedo has been linked with Liverpool, but he would cost around 85 to 90 million pounds, and Liverpool consider that overpriced for the quality that Caicedo represents, because still with Moises Caicedo you are more signing potential and not current quality. He's on his way to world-class level, but he's not not as good as Declan Rice, and he almost costs as much. Cheick Doucouré made 34 Premier League appearances last season for Crystal Palace, and the ability to play in the number 6 role would also be crucial in our next signing. It's not hard to imagine that he could make the transition to playing for Liverpool, but also Romeo Lavia at 19 represents great value for money as well. Doucouré is a little bit older, a little bit more experienced, but they both have 1 year of Premier League experience, so that's always a gamble. And do you want to replace Fabinho with a player who only has 1 Premier League season under his belt? That's always a risk. Liverpool are working extra hard to be ready for pre-season, and tomorrow we will have our first pre-season game for Liverpool, and after that the Liverpool games will come thick and fast, 1 Liverpool game at least per week, and that's the most fun part of the year for me. When the season is starting, it's always really nice. And Andy Robertson also told a funny story that Liverpool had triple sessions, then another triple session. I think all of us have been sleeping, to be honest with you. We have no chance to really socialize yet. We always try our best. We've gathered a couple of fines so far this trip. We've got a little court case coming up to see if some of the lads get away with it or not. Obviously that brings a bit of fun, questioning people on the stand and things like that. You just try to make these trips as fun as possible. On the pitch it's very competitive, but off it, it's all about team bonding, it's all about trying to get togetherness, and it's also about being fun and having fun. And along with karaoke sessions for new players and table tennis tournaments, it's great to see that the Liverpool squad is coming up with fun ways to, interact with each other and to bond between training sessions and training drills. But after, of course, a very disappointing season last season, the pressure will not only be on the Liverpool recruitment team to secure signings good enough for a title challenge, but also for the current stars who need to get back to their best level, who need to raise their game. Christian Falk, a German reporter who broke the news that Thiago is going to sign for Liverpool, he still believes that Liverpool have Manu Kone on their radar, even though Manu Kone has suffered an injury in the France under-21 team. But he said Kone is on the list for Liverpool. Jörg Schmatke has had an eye on him for 6 months. The funny thing is, his son, Jörg Schmatke's son, is working at Borussia Mönchengladbach as a manager. So you see the direction, the conversation is very, very short, and they can get in touch with each other very easily. And Kone is undoubtedly a talented player. The big question is, how serious is his injury? Could he be back before September? Because Liverpool don't want to sign a player who is already injured. He is set to miss up to 6 weeks of action with an injury. But if Liverpool view him as a long-term option who ticks all the boxes, this short injury shouldn't distract Liverpool from signing him. He's more of a defensive midfielder than Khéphren Thuram, who is more of a box-to-box midfielder. But the links to him have died down a little bit recently. So it's going to be very, very interesting if Liverpool enter talks, if Liverpool want to sign him. So what do you think about all these stories that we talked about in today's video? I'm fascinated to hear your opinion. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.